Zong and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This week. My name is Wang. And now top stories for this week. The picture of Gese, the first royal child of their majesties, is selling among many people across the country. Prime Minister, Chief Justice and heads of armed forces and constitutional bodies offered Losa Tashidele Khada to His Majesty the King. And coinciding with the royal birth, the Health Ministry launched a medical technique to provide pain relief during labor. The first official Cooper of His Royal Highness the Gese was released on social media on Tuesday. It was as a special Losa gift for the people who have expressed their wish to see a glimpse of the first royal child of their majesties. Quinzel printed a special edition of 20,000 copies of the Cooper and was sold out by midday.
This is the Kupa released on the official Facebook pages of His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelsin. The Kupa was immediately shared by thousands of people on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. The profiles of the Bhutanese looked festive, with many people making the Kupa their profile and cover pictures. His Royal Highness is being held by His Majesty the 4th Duke Gebo and surrounded by His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelsin at the Linkana Palace. The Kupa was received with great enthusiasm and happiness by the people.
Demane Jewdalu the same Kali the Tornamaro, Chira Juins Junila.
The Daribel the Couponism Jones, the no mano, the Dari Coupadism Jebe, Nami, some same guys Junila.
The Nachakara, Mio Yapseni, Ajitipem, say, Gesser to the Jenny to give the Nachanam some same guys Junibella.
The Kupa was also shared in numerous international media worldwide, with readers responding with overwhelming wishes for their majesties, the Gese and Bhutan. With overwhelming demand, Kunsel will be printing more copies. Sringdamar Gelsin, BBS News.
The Prime Minister, Chief Justice, Speaker of National Assembly, Chairperson of the National Council, Opposition Leader, Cabinet Ministers, and heads of armed forces and constitutional bodies offered Losa Tashidele Khada to His Majesty the King at the Linkana Palace. This year, the people of Bhutan celebrate a special Losa with the royal birth of His Royal Highness the Gese on Friday. The propitious coincidence of the birth of the Gese just days before Dawa Dangpi Losa or the New Year filled people across the country with utmost delight. And as the nation observed the New Year, friends and families gathered to mark this special coincidence in ways special to them. Some opted for picnic, some a quiet family gathering, while others played traditional games and sports.
로서들이 기세 춘비기 님이야 기다치가 같이 지송준이기 고급톱지 내다다오베 더 담배기 로서 마바 이니딩 같이 로 뒤치 상비세 멤베 니말레 데비치 송 수설도 인데라베로 뒤치디 아치지 마도치베라 샘플로 소능 중이 있으시니
아지지진 페마다 텔랭아치라 두길가 빠게 게세 투니디게 토와다 소능 마도치 예블레텐데라 땡아치디서 카라나 좀베 데아니베 로서 치숭베오이라 데 ngachiragi dugal ngapada ajijitun pemalo ngachigi hotel dumi misakaragi hotele dami sami tashidile seshuni la
losa luchilu sajiri miomula teani dodalu te ngachiragi pinjedu sugera zoom tele miwa kesichi tum pedang chigera semga te sonamaro jiju te darigi tau dambi gi losa di ngachi pinjegera zoom tan Zomzanibe tekera ni oisishuni bina.
Ata the madobe nami sami gawagi thogale be chisung shui seshuni bina tenga chi gesi cho thuni digi de nami sami sem ga di de ani gi tente da didi be ngachi losa ya the madochi be gawagi thogale be chisung shui seshuni bina te dinado ni le daro ta gesi gi she jendi gi da nami sami salandi seshuni bina.
to chani ime te losa che ime te gesi tu me ga semde gai te che to chi te ga che gara i mi ti zombe pe da chi ane te losa no to te na gendo te ga chani de cha cha pina
남이기 때 징길라비기 로서 좀집에 소위 있으시니 뒤까지 서 도주버진 때가 저라 때야 명하다를 물친다 아지지 빼먹이 te gesi chung beshle te nam sem ga nam sem gi te sem khalu te nam sem gi song madochira chung se shunila te kachim so chin te ada da modoi gi te song chi tu chi chung se shunila.
Coinciding with the royal birth of the Gese, the Health Ministry launched epidural labor analgesia, a medical technique employed for providing pain relief during labor. The service is a gift from Her Majesty the Gelson to the mothers of Bhutan.
The service is currently available only at the Jimmy Dujiwanchu National Referral Hospital in Thimphu.
Pregnant women who want to avail themselves of the service can do so. For those who prefer normal delivery, we respect that as well. It will be on first-come, first basis, and right now we can accommodate about 30 such cases at the National Referral Hospital. The treatment, however, will be given to only those who medically qualify for it. This year we are starting with the National Referral Hospital, and after a few years we have plans to start the treatment in Mongar and Gilifu.
After the launch of the service, gift hampers were given to those mothers who gave birth at the National Referral Hospital yesterday. Babies born yesterday also received gifts from His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelson. As per the health record, 30 babies were born in hospitals across the country yesterday.
I'm really happy that my baby shares the birth date with the Gese.
Firstly, I would like to congratulate their majesties. I am happy that I gave birth to my girl on the same day the Gese was born.
I'm happy the Gese and my baby were born on the same day. It is as if His Royal Highness the Gese and my daughter are brother and sister. I offer my praise for the well-being of the Gese.
Same like a sister and brother.
To mark the occasion, the birthing center, neonatal intensive care unit, and community health department at the National Referral Hospital were also renamed as Gelson Jitsinpema Birthing Center, Gelson Jitsinpema Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, and Gelson Jitsinpema Mother and Child Clinic. Sringzam, BBS News.
It was indeed a good morning for people across the country as they woke up to the news of the royal birth of the Gese, the first royal child of His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelson on Saturday. His Royal Highness was safely delivered at the Linkana Palace on Friday.
5th of February 2016 will be a date forever engraved in the hearts of Bhutanese, marking the dawn of a new era in the history of Bhutan. Gese, the first royal child of His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelson, is born. A press release from the Royal Office for Media stated that His Majesty the King was at Her Majesty's side during the time of the royal birth, and His Royal Highness, upon being born, was first presented to His Majesty the 4th Drugelpo. Following the royal birth, the Jungdrasang performed Gese Chungten Tendril Gisungche at the Kinre of Zong. It was specially for the glorious life of the Gese and also as an expression of gratitude to their majesties for the sacred gift to the nation.
더러 마치게 게스는 무시 거기 때 쿠슬로 발심마중아 때 쿠스와탄 다시게니기 되는로 때 마치게 밤에서 다때 가라베스 주로 도레날파 때 카치라베스 주로 something 추진도 둡시나베 때 레심베 타르치니기 때 되는로 아니기 때 멜럼 좀 지기 되는로 아니 순수리 남면서
A Guru Tsenge and Netin Churu Thongdrills were unveiled at the courtyard of Tashi Zong for public veneration. Indian ambassador and cabinet ministers came to offer prayers at the ceremony. Residents also flocked at the Zong to offer prayers and receive blessings from Thongdrills.
the telepatha surberunga chigi gakhabdi de nyamola labbe de nyem shadow zumbe joigi tenga chigi ngachi khatule melam bombe yuila.
I was overwhelmed with joy and pride to hear the news of the birth of His Royal Highness Kese, and I wish him a glorious life ahead.
The King Queen Setu Benga Namsame Semkai Tashtele Chuni Ila.
I'm so blessed to have experienced this day, and I'm happy that I put off my flight for this day because I was planning to go a week earlier, but I heard that the little prince was going to be born this few days, so I stayed back, and I'm so happy to have done that. I'm so blessed.
The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also tweeted a congratulatory message on the birth of the Gese on Twitter. It reads, "Congratulations to Their Majesties, the King and Queen of Bhutan on the birth of the first child, the Gese, Tashidele Finsum Tsoparsho." Meanwhile, to celebrate the royal birth, the government declared a national holiday on Monday. Pamela Hardin for BBS News.
Coinciding with the birth of the Gese, Her Majesty the Royal Grandmother Aji Kazang Chodin Wanchu, along with the Shun Rasa, offered a golden bumper to Dechifu Lhaga. The bumper is worth 3.5 million mutram.
Letsolebe offered the bumper to the Lhaga. Bhutanese pursuing further studies in Australia also contributed in making the bumper.
Deshipulu nachara bamise desugi nyendar be puna megi nyenda sukara dudu bebe te tigi khotup chapdi be phudo se shunila te tenalu te ngachara ma duni desugi japchordi mio geyum kezang chugibe te na ise shuni gese kutumbi tuida tidibe nachara gelem basumgi te genye chaba melulu biwa phucho zumchibe phudibe nachara gese tilu te ningi chara tsingi misi o mebegi tile dubna sewigi te telen biu zumchibe te genye chaba meligi kundilu tebe phudo se shunila.
On this auspicious day today, we are here at Dechipu Lhaga. The Lhaga is conducting Gengin Jasar and Sekem Jasar Kurim to celebrate the birth of the Gese. The Kurim is being conducted for the well-being of the Gese and also for the development of peace and prosperity in the country. And unlike other days, today we have more people visiting the Lhaga. And we'll be asking some of the visitors their purpose on visiting the Lhaga today.
Me and family wanted to pray for the long life for our Gese, and we came here to congratulate our royal family on this auspicious day.
I was so happy. So early in the morning, I prepared to visit many monasteries to pray for him and then to wish for him. So happily, I was really shocked and at the same time surprised, and I really wanted to visit this because coinciding with this birthday of our Gese, so I just visited here today.
To celebrate the royal birth, Semtoka Sherda is also conducting a special 3-day Gembe Tonso Kurim at the Zong beginning today. Damchuzam, BBS News.
The groundbreaking ceremony for the restoration of Drugel Zong in Paro was held on Saturday. The Zong, built in the 17th century during the time of Shabdrung, is in ruins today. The restoration works are scheduled to start this year, coinciding with the royal birth of the Gese, the sacred birth year of Guru Rinpoche, and 400th anniversary of Shabdrung's arrival to the country.
Prime Minister Singh Topye graced the groundbreaking ceremony for the restoration of Drugal Zong. The Zong was built during a time when relations with the then neighboring country Tibet was sour. According to Paro Lamnet and Sonam Tenzin, the Bhutanese forces fought 2 battles against the Tibetan army in this place where the Zong now stands. Bhutanese won both the battles. After the second battle, which was the decider, Drugal Zong was built to celebrate the victory.
The tinle ngacharki the paro chilla langyamba tenzin tuktalu kanang bebe the zondi tangacharki the tenzin tuktarki be shainano sishuni.
But the Zong was destroyed by a fire in 1951.
Thana ngacharki the chetha chap tembeudagi the ma chegi lacha tacha gocha disule gozong tele the ma disu chap telu kadibe kya topchika kadibe bega disugi chedisu kha serebe dena yobeki te kenshusugi loju debe lamni tu tani beni digi tega mechichebe kaptelo kane thop matsube.
The fire incident left the Zong in ruins. A date to begin the restoration works is yet to be decided. However, officials say it will start soon and hope to complete the works in 2 years.
It was almost 370 years ago, during the time of Shabdrungong Namgyal, that Drugal Zong was constructed here in Paro. And as the name indicates, Drugal Zong was constructed to commemorate the Bhutanese victory over enemies from outside. But it also served a defensive purpose against threats from enemies from outside. But since then, the Zong has gone through a lot of disasters, the biggest and the most well-known of which was a fire accident in the year 1951. But once the renovation of the Zong is completed, we will all be fortunate enough to witness this beautiful Zong in its true form as it was once in the beginning. With camera person Kin Zong Wangdi, Yishi Gelson, BBS News, Paro.
To commemorate the historic occasion of birth of His Royal Highness the Gyatse, a chute will be constructed at Tromsingla. For that, a groundbreaking ceremony was held at Tromsingla.
As the birth of His Royal Highness the Gyatse was momentous and special, the weather and the sky encompassing Tromsingla was also unusually special during the groundbreaking ceremony. The ceremony was presided over by the Jakar Lam, who said a Guru Tsenge Chute will be constructed over the pass, lying at an elevation of over 3,700 meters.
di gongsi nang de chu de sin di gongsi mbe di de le sin na mi dia ji de damuni na pen to be di chu ji kheba to ga jara de da du de yusulu de da jara na pe la phaji de chu ji na kilo di solo ga ro de da na min sem gi pemba de nyuba yubi gi di chu di sin mi di di tembe gi de da temma da goni pe gi da da tende le simji di mbe shuni.
Along with this historic event, people in Yamtra in Pumthang gathered near the residence of Her Majesty the Gyaltsen's mother, where they were granted toka. A Guru Tsenge Thonde was also unfurled at the Jakar Zong.
Nami sami kharju zai is shunila
kulla parchme batata serni bashos nekun bashos tashi deli la la sal
gese thumi digia tenga le gondo fedibe kusiri ne mugi mewa tenga chi du ge khab di gondo fechu swi ngachi melam ne betamni sishun.
Kurims are being held in different hagas in the Dzongkhag for the welfare of His Royal Highness the Gyatse and their Majesties. Compiled for Chetan Rupchu in Pumthang, Sringzam, BBS News.
Another chute will be constructed at Pelila in Wangdi Phodrang to mark the royal birth. The groundbreaking ceremony for the construction was held on Saturday. It was presided over by Wangdi Phodra Lamnete.
The chute is constructed for the well-being of the newly born His Royal Highness the Gyatse, their Majesties and other members of the royal family.
The Pilela the Hama Najara, the Pimalimba, the Nagantilu Chemi Capsulu, Nalo Junu, Nalabachelame, Imletin Gibe, the Pilela, the Tare,
다 대베 구이세 춤달로 다 아니기 뒤든데 할로 나로 추드 진디게 살랑베 오메디 다 가자라 명가다 름무치 야라마 기버베서 지르 대비 말름말레베 베니디게 남에 사메텐데 자모 중이세 주니
The date for the construction of Chutin is yet to be decided. The statues of Chukokindo Zangpo, Riksum Gyembo and Jo Jamba will be installed as sacred relics. And the Chutin will be constructed of marble. People who waited eagerly for the royal child shared their happiness.
Danapa Pedibiru, Tangacharaki, the Laga Gindu Nalapa, Tangacharaki, Gesidi, the Kuseja Petin Chu Siviki, the Melam Tamniki, Tangachin Nosam de Veratandi.
The Tebeku train so that it Tangacharaki Namisimi Kyo Zanu Shunila.
Tangachi, Zongachi, Missy Catale, Namisemicatigas of Bombay Station Villa.
Over 200 people, including monks, took part in the ceremony. Sonam Singh, BBS News.
A special celebration was organized at Rongthong Nakthang in Trashigang to celebrate the birth of His Royal Highness the Gyase. The celebration was organized for 2 days.
As soon as the birth of His Royal Highness the Gyase was announced, a lunda was hoisted near the Nakthang. Rongthong Nakthang under Kanglung Geok is the paternal ancestral home of Her Majesty the Gyatsun. Tashigan Zong Pentilitopge, popularly known as Ser Dopola, constructed the Nakthang.
Tari Gyalsindi ki Yabdila, Yabdunub Gyalsin se Juvishinilla.
The Yum of Yab Dondup Gyalsin, Her Majesty the Gyalsin's Yab, is from Rongthong Nakthang. The name of Nakthang is Pinsum Norbuga, which was built by Tashigang Zongpen. Since Nakthang is located in Rongthong, we take pride in celebrating the birth of Gyase.
Hundreds of people from the 5 chooks of Kanglung Geok and nearby places gathered for the celebration. They performed various cultural dances. A tokha was also hosted for the public during the celebration.
We are happy to hear the news of the Gyase's birth in Thimphu. We are now eagerly waiting to welcome their Majesties and His Royal Highness the Gyase in Rongthong Nakthang.
We all are extremely happy with the news of our Gyase's birth. We have been eagerly waiting for this day. We are so lucky to hear the news.
In the past, such royal births were not announced, so we didn't get the opportunity to offer our prayers. Now we got the opportunity and we pray for the well-being of our Gyase.
I am overjoyed to hear the news of the Gyase's birth. We have been waiting and praying for it. Now we offer our prayers for the well-being of their Majesties and the Gyase. We consider our Gyase as the reincarnation of Guru Rinpoche.
As part of the celebration, an archery match was also organized among the 5 chooks under Kanglung Geok. For Pimanamge in Kanglung, Sonam Ugen, PBS News.
According to the Tendril Initiatives project, the initiative to bring together the people of Bhutan in welcoming His Royal Highness the Gyase through a common platform has succeeded beyond expectations. Tendril Initiatives, a non-profit body, was established in November last year to help celebrate the royal birth, the birth year of Guru Rinpoche and the 400th anniversary of the Shabdrung's arrival to Bhutan.
Right after the national announcement of the royal birth, the project publicly released the 10-day emblem. A press release from the project states, with the tagline "Duk Yul celebrates," the emblem went viral on social media with thousands of users, especially Facebook, using the royal birth symbol as their profile picture. Simultaneously, the 10-day song and the 10-day video were released online on BBS television and radio and channels of the cable operators across the country.
From the Facebook itself, about this tendril video song has been shared by about almost 1,000 shares, which is quite high, and it has been viewed by more than 70,000 people. So everybody is participating in this project. The awareness has been created. It has reached to the nooks and corners of Bhutan. Also, we would like to thank Bhutan Telecom and Tashicel. With our request, they have included in the CRBT as a ringtone. So this has really created a big awareness. People are excited. So the first initiative, that's why we feel it has been successful.
He added 2 more initiatives, probably even more far-reaching in terms of impact, were in the offing.
We are working on a tendril album. It's an album where again we try to create a platform for the people of Bhutan to express their joy, their wishes, their prayers to the newborn prince, the Prince of Bhutan. They can do it as an individual, as a family, as an organization. By February 21st, which coincides with His Majesty's birthday, we are hopeful that we will be able to gift this album, the tendril album, from the people of Bhutan to His Majesty Gyaltsen and the newborn prince.
The third initiative is slated on 6 March. 108,000 Sokshing or Tree of Life will be planted in all the 20 Zongkhaks. His Holiness the J. Khenpo will preside over the ceremony. Tenzin Lekfel said the planting of the trees not only carries huge religious symbolism appropriate to receive His Royal Highness the Gyaltsen, but it's also an investment in the future and reinforcement for the Bhutan's image as an environment-friendly nation. Sonam Lhamo for BBS News.
The tendril celebration of the newest member of the royal family, the Gyaltsen, by the 6 southern Zongkhaks took place in Samchi. Thousands of people gathered in Samchi to celebrate the birth of the Gyaltsen.
The celebration of the birth of His Royal Highness the Gyaltsen began with the prayer ceremony at the Shivalaya Mandir, which was inaugurated yesterday afternoon by the Prime Minister. This was followed by offering of khadar to their majesties, praying for their good health at the Samchi Rabde. The tendril celebration, which took place at the Samchi public ground, was attended by over thousands of people from 15 geoks in Samchi and guests from 5 other southern Zongkhaks. Speaking to BBS, people spoke of their prayers and wishing good health to their majesties and the first royal child.
Tashidele to their majesties, and we pray for the long life of the good health of the prince.
One of the highlights of the event was the 60-year-old Brokpa, a male tusker brought specially for the celebration from Sarbang. The public, in a celebratory mood, presented a series of culture programs praising the peaceful reign under the Wangchuk dynasty. Compiled for Sonam Punso, Sringdama Galton, BBS News.
It was indeed the best gift ever for a woman from Lunzi who received a new house from the throne. His Majesty the King granted the suire to mark the birth of the Gyase. Our reporter Sujaman Thapa met her and filed in this report.
This is the lucky woman. 23-year-old Pema Yangzom from Menjigyog in Linsi now boasts of a new 2-story traditional house. The house is a gift from His Majesty the King. Pema is His Majesty the King's dojipin or the spiritual sibling since last year.
Chimia do delegi se tung beuda the nami sami sui di sonam jiri era imes no melangar beotin hemata to di nami sami semga dele ngajia da sachama aingi ge alu bindi gi chimchung ko jinale da chimbom na boda di nami sami semga de da hemadi nadundu nale da ngimsha do zumbera da dojibindi ngara jamchi bero da aingi ge alu di sungarang khiban chimbom na jobarzi bi gato to bedini gi la de hemadi chimse ani bi madela de dar number shab ki ani bina mi sami gai de shabuna mi sami karin chi shuni la
Pema Yangzom also expressed her happiness and praise for Their Majesty and the newly born Gyaltsen. It took almost 10 months to complete the house. The representatives from the Gyaltsab's office in Mongar handed over the house. Compiled for Surjaman Thapa in Linsi, Sonam Hamo for PBS News.
Well, then that's all we have for this week. Join us next week, same time and same channel. Thank you for now.